Smart, not hard. This is the one of the feature of enterprise Java Beans. If you think the enterprise Java Beans always, it is a complex application, complex and real time. So what we have seen in the previous discussion, complexity depends on scalability of the users, security which you are providing, and the transaction should be clearly defined, and that software should be a good software. Now code smart, not hard. So let us take a example to register a new user with the system. To register a new user to a system, think of the number of fields which you are going to define. Again, it depends on the application type. Suppose if you are conducting a college event, you are asking which are the user details you are going to ask. Which are the user details you are going to ask for the college event registration? Anybody are there at the other end? Yashashwini? So the event for registering the user to the event, you are asking the user details like the USN, name, the college which he or she is studying, the branch, semester, the event which you are applying, right? And the contact number and email ID for further correspondence. This is the user information for that particular event registration. Suppose the same, if you are developing an application to develop this event registration form, every time you are doing it from scratch. So depending on the event type which you are conducting, if it is a code event, hackathon kind of events, the application little it vary in the registration. If it is a fest events, traditional events, the registration form differs. Suppose if you are developing a chart application, registration might differs, right? So every time as a normal developer like us is thinking it doing it from scratch always. To develop that first, there are 9 points listed here to develop a user registration, new user registration to the system. So identify the application type and decide which are the fields are necessary to go with the new user registration form. The first, yes, you decided with some few fields which I discussed for the event registration. Now, what user from the user side, what user is expected? If I provide the contact details or if I provide the personal details to the registration form, though registration details is they are maintaining my credentials safely or securely. User is expected. So as a developer, you need to provide that. where how you are going to store those personal details as plain text or encrypted format. As a developer, you need to think that. So for that, check that we have permission to register someone new. If register whoever is going to register to your web application, you need to verify that user is valid or not. He may be registering in the name of student. He may be expert in the coding. He may be an engineer. He may be some other thing. If you are restricting that user form for the students, you need to cross verify whether the user is going to register. He has a permission to enter his details onto your web application. The second harder way is you are going to do is you start a boundary so everything is ensured to complete together without affecting anything else. That is transaction. So this service level at the system level you need to define. Yes, registration form is designed with the following fields: USN, name, college name, branch, email ID, phone number. Now you need to identify the types of these values. USN is a mixed mode character, data type, string type, USN string type, phone number. So you need to identify all the granular level meta information of the data which you are going to collect through the registration form. So once a user click on submit, that should be recorded rather than providing the error messages. Means that transaction should complete by sending a SMS messages to the new user registration. So why sending SMS? To verify that user whether she has given the proper contact number as well as the email ID. To verify that to make the transaction is complete, you need to fix a boundary for that registration. Then get a business worker delegate from some pool or cache so we have control over concurrency. So, if it is the last day of registration to the event, obviously multiple user is trying to register themselves through your web portal. In that case, you need to provide the system level services like concurrency, means providing the pool of threads for each individual user without disturbing your application, without degrading the performance of your application. You need to provide the business logic for that. You need to provide the business logic for that. Getting? So performance issue you need to take care, and the transaction isolation means independent transaction should happen for the each new registrant who is going to register with your application. You need to take care of that also. Then make a hook into the database, that is resource management. So that if the database, if the number of seat for the registrant is only 100, if it may you may receive thousands of the user registration. So you may be restricted. Your database acceptable record limit is 100. If it goes behind that, you should not accept. You need to maintain the sufficient resources. If your accepting is 100, if the resource limit is exist with the database is only 50 records, then there is a shortfall of the resource. So you need to take care of that resource management also. Means you need to maintain the sufficient memory space to accept the user request. Then fifth one is store the user. The you means registering the record, which is a record of information which is sent by the new user. You need to maintain the server side logic. Either you write in a Java JSP, or you can write in Java Servlet, or you can write any of the server side technology which supports to record the details of that user information which sent through the client forum. And the sixth is get a hook to a SMTP, Simple Mail Transport Protocol for server as a resource management. Since that event is accepting the email services, email is accepting from the user to verify that user is right or wrong. He has given the right or wrong email or password email. You need to maintain the mail setup at the resource management side, and email confirmation business logic you need to maintain. Then the return our workers, so another call may use it, that is performance and transactional isolation is needed again. And finally close our boundary means where it is going to be ended. See, these are all the laborious process. As a user, you need to take care of the designing the web pages. You need to take care of the writing the business logic. You need to take care of the transactional system level services. So this is a laborious process. It's a hard way. As a developer, you need to take care of multiple things at a time. Means obviously your deviation. You are not focusing exactly on the business logic. It deviates you to do lot of things in one shot. Rather than that, instead of going through all these scratch and develop the projects, you need to look onto the code smart. If you are able to define the object type of like this, here this is snippet code which is going to give object orientations. So whatever you define the previous step, it is a hard code. So how you can make a smart code? You create a pool of objects which help, rather than creating again and again from the scratch like normal flow chart, waterfall model, one by one, step by step. You make use of the object oriented concepts, so you can express your idea in the form of this. You define a pseudo function called as register user. Whoever that click on the register user, this business logic is going to be invoked. So you are connecting a database to store the user information. Directly you are invoking the database dot store user. You are establishing a connection with the database by passing the user information. User is collecting as an object here, and store user is the business method if you are defining to store the user information. And you are doing the transaction on the user with respect to the mail service. So if you write these pseudo function for the register user, most of human beings is going to be understand this one. So you are try to be smart in coding rather than hard code from beginning scratch, etc. and so on. So to support smart coding construct, EJB came into existence. Enterprise Java Bean modules came into existence because it supports container services to provide the system level services like allocating the memory as required by the processor of the servlet, providing a security through the container, and providing the scalable means by providing the new threads for the new request. If the threads are idle, it is going to be allocated with the variety of modules which we are going to discuss in this. In this EJB, we are discussing the three models. So one is a session bean model, another one is message driven bean model, and another one is the entity Java bean module. So these three modules, how we can use effectively those to creating the component based distributed application with the help of enterprise Java Bean modules. EJB concepts. Okay, to build such kind of the applications means code smart, not hard. So one of the example is EJB. So what it will gives the picture? It will gives the picture that as a developer, you need to focus on business logic rather than the different set of components. So this EJP which will provide such kind of the facility and platform to develop and concentrate on business logic, because EJP take care of system level services like transactions, timer, pooling, caching, releasing, all those things that will taken care by the EJP. So in the EJB, there is a, module called as the EJB container. So container, so the general meaning of the container is this. You may be seeing the cartoon box here in the on the PPT container. So what the container is going to do? So EJB container is a software container module. What it is going to do? It hosts that provides a services to guest application. So what are the container will do in the figure? You can see it is providing the services to guest application. So if you think of a server in the server, maybe only one application maybe is running, or the multiple application may be running. So the job of the container is providing the services to the guest application. For example, event registration, college event, one application is running at the server. So another event like BIMS, BMST information management system, that application is running in FIMS, feedback management system. So multiple applications may be running at the one server. For all these applications, the services is needed. Which are the services? Email service is needed, then memory is needed, then security is needed. Yeah, if any file handling which these are supporting, file handling is needed. All system level services is needed for all kind of the application. So in the server side, there is a concept of container. So it provides a services to the guest, all the guest applications. So here container, some user actions, image processing, any processing applications needs the image, then email services, and many more. Not only these three, many more components which will exist to provide the services to the guest applications. The another picture, you can clearly see that in a server there is a single container or a multiple container. The container may be distributed among the network services also. Getting my point? This is not a single container. One container cannot do everything for every applications. So some of the models you may be deployed in another container to provide a services. Right here, client, some two clients called as client A and client B is requesting from different remote places. One is accessing through the internet, means client B accessing through the RMI, remote method invocation. So a client A is accessing at the local server. So both are requesting for the service A. Client B is requesting for the container B. Client A is requesting for the container A. So by looking into this figure, you are able to understand. So the one server might consist of the multiple containers, or the container may be distributed across the networks also. Okay. Now, I hope you understood about the container services. EJB specifications. See, the specification is nothing but capabilities required of a compliant EJB container. Capability required of a compliant EJB container. So, what we are discussing currently now for the with respect to EJB specification 3.1, Enterprise Java Bean specification 3.1. Earlier to 3.1 is 3.0, 3.0. That 3.0 specification supports for the plain object Java chain plain older Java object. POSO code it was supported. There was no API concept to connect with the components, distributed component, etc. and so on. So that they uses the RMI. Okay, so now we're discussing with respect to the EJB specification, which will defines the rules of access of the distributed objects among the containers and the servers and the networks. So all these things which will be clearly defined under the EJB specification. This EJB specification, this specification document which will have around 300 lines of code. Sorry, 300 pages itself. So here I am going to discuss the summary of all those summary of that 300 pages. So we can think of the enterprise Java Beans architecture is an architecture for development and deployment of component-based business applications. So component-based business applications written using the enterprise Java Beans architecture. The enterprise Java Bean architecture are scalable, transactional, and multi-user secure. Multi-user and secure. Scalable, transactional, and multi-user secure. So which kind of EJB applications you can develop? That supports for scalable, transactional, and multi-user, and also it provides the security for the transactions which happening with the complex applications. These applications may be written once and then deployed on any server platform that supports the enterprise Java Bean specification. So the concept is write once, run anywhere is the basic motto of the Java. Enterprise Java Beans is also a part of the Java technology. So obviously this enterprise Java Beans also supports write once and deploy on any server platform. Or we can tell that EJB architecture EJB as it is a standard server side component for a model for distributed business application. We can say enterprise Java Beans is a standard server side component model for distributed business application. Distributed business application means the one application may be deployed in a single server or more than one server. So across the globe, not only your premises where you stay, it may be a Bangalore, it may be the Canada, it may be some Australia. So anywhere you can keep your servers. So your application is running through globally, right? To maintain that EJB concepts are very helpful to do and deploy the complex applications. Clear? continued the EJB specification. EJB defines a model for piecing together a full system by integrating modules. So, since EJB supports the model view controller architecture, MVC architecture, so a model view and controller view is presentation. Controller is the server side with middle tier, and the model is the database tier. So many teams are working on independently. They are working with the model. They are working with the controller. They are working with the view independently. Finally, plumbing work is needed to connect all these. So those plumbing work which will be taken care by the some teams, right? So EJB, how EJB is defining that, how you can do plumbing, how you can do the connecting the modules. How the system level services are provided to work that applications, all those things which will be taken care by the EJB. Each component may represent a collection of business processes, and these will run centralized on the server. So every component which will have a multiple business processes, which these will run on centralized on the server, means exactly similar like your operating system is present in a single desktop or the multiple machines, right? You are running those processes with the help of, the help of the client request. The distributed one, the EJB is what it is going to do. It integrates the module. Integrating the module is the one features specification of that. Second one is distributed. So nature will provide a mechanism to spread modules across different processes, physical machines, or even entire networks. Distributed nature tells you that it is not only in single system you are maintaining the entire business logic of your application. It might be present in a single machine, or it might be present in a physical machine, or it may be present in virtual machines, or it might be present in even in entire networks. Then EJB is also an aggregate technology, means collection of technology. EJB is not single, it's a collection of technology. It wires up other facets of the Java Enterprise Edition, such as what, so integrating modules, distribution. In addition to that, it has a several aggregated technologies like messaging. We have seen that message driven program messaging, JMS and Q. We have seen those this messaging integration with the EJB module. Transaction we have seen with the entity bean program. Resource management, we have maintained with the session bean, and persistence we are worked with the entity bean and web services. So these are all the other facets of that EJB. Because it is EJB is not independent of just providing the services. It has a other set of services also it is going to be provided. The other set are messaging, transactions, resource management, persistence, and web services. Then let us look into the component types. So component types, what exactly as a programmer, what you need to understand, you need to understand the nature and try to identify the real life objects. Suppose, as I said, conducting the college event, conducting the college event. So which are the users or characters are involved, actors are involved? According to the OMD, you define the actors, use cases you are defining, actors you are defining, right? Then sequencing you are defining, collaborating you are defining, activity is defining. So as a developer, as a programmer, you must need to understand the nature's object. So if you are able to clearly identify the nature life objects, then obviously your programming become very easier. So most probably we are defining the nature's objects is in the form of object-oriented concepts, right? Like reusability, inheritance concept, extending the capabilities. All those capabilities already we identified. In addition to that, we need to identify the abstract layers of that real life object and the interfaces, etc., and so on. So since obsolete applications in EJB 3.0, EJB 3.0 specification, it was supported that plain old Java object classes, those plain old Java object class similar to your any other class, simple classes, it does not become an EJB directly. So when this plain old Java object, like you are defining class student with some set of methods and properties of the student class. Directly that class you cannot use as a enterprise. So how when it will become enterprise student application means when you are going to assemble and packaging by creating the manifest and by creating the jar file, when you are going to create that assembling and package. And the second one is when you are deploying that by with the help of the deployment tool of servers, and when you are accessing via the container, then you can think of it is a EJB class. Until unless if you are not doing performing these three steps, your Java class cannot directly become a EJB. Okay, what the EJB needs after creating a class, you need to create as a packaging. You need to deploy that packaging, and you need access via the container. This is an important distinction between your normal Java class and the enterprise Java classes. EJBs become such only in the context of EJB container. Okay. The container in turn is responsible for equipping POJOs with EJB services. So what is the another job of container? Container responsible for equipping plain old Java objects. Existing any Java objects is present in your application to handle the old clients and old client requirements. So that container job is to even provide the services to those old objects also. Okay. So here little imagination is required to discuss the enterprise Java Bean concepts. So you need to in line with my thoughts to understand these concepts. Otherwise, if you are distinct, you are thinking something else which I am discussing here means obviously this becomes tedious to understand these concepts. Okay, so what we discussed today: code smart, not hard. Then the second one is the container, then container, then EJB specifications, then what we discussed, component types. So we'll continue the class in next session. Okay. Any
Okay,
question?
sir. No, sir.
Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Those